Evelyn smiled, kissed my cheek, and told me she was heading out for a long-awaited girls' night out with her college friends. She had spent nearly an hour picking out her favorite white silk blouse and styling her long, wavy brown hair, looking more radiant than she had in months. As she waved goodbye and walked down the driveway, I felt genuinely happy that she was finally taking some time to unwind. A few hours later, around 9:30 p.m., my phone buzzed on the coffee table with a casual text message from her saying, "Girls' night, don't wait up." I smiled, replied with a heart emoji, and settled back into the couch, fully expecting a quiet, lonely night of watching television in our empty house. The house grew completely still, save for the rhythmic ticking of the living room clock and the low hum of the television screen. But just as I was drifting off to sleep, the heavy silence was shattered when our home security system suddenly sent a sharp, high-priority motion alert directly to my phone. My heart skipped a beat, knowing that the driveway and gate sensors were only supposed to trigger if someone entered or exited our property lines. I quickly opened the live camera feed and noticed a mysterious, completely dark vehicle idling quietly under the shadows of the oak trees outside our gate. The headlights were switched completely off, and the vehicle sat hiding in the deep darkness. To my absolute shock, I saw Evelyn running low from our own backyard and rushing straight into the passenger seat of that strange car. She was moving quickly, as if she desperately did not want to be seen by anyone looking through the house windows. Right before the car door shut, the interior light flickered slightly, and I noticed a pale, heavily scarred hand reaching out from the driver's seat to pull her in closer, which completely contradicted her story. A wave of intense anger and profound betrayal washed over me, replacing the peaceful warmth of our home with an icy, suffocating dread. I realized that she hadn't left for a girls' night hours ago. She had waited in our own backyard, hiding in the dark until this specific car arrived. Without losing another second, I opened her chat box and sent exactly one single line back to her phone: "I just saw who opened the passenger door for you." Through the live screen, I watched the immediate, chaotic reaction inside the idling black sedan as soon as the message delivered. The brake lights instantly flared a brilliant crimson as a frantic argument broke out between Evelyn and the driver. Suddenly, the passenger door flew wide open, and Evelyn desperately threw herself out of the moving vehicle onto the hard, cold asphalt of the pavement. The mysterious car accelerated with a deafening screech of tires, tearing down the dark street and completely disappearing into the midnight fog. Exactly 10 minutes later, our heavy front door burst open with a violent slam that rattled the framed pictures on the wall, and she stepped into the hallway looking utterly terrified and gasping for air. Her hair was completely disheveled, her clothes were stained with dust from the road, and her face was utterly devoid of any color. She fell to her knees crying bitterly on the cold hardwood floor, her hands trembling so hard she could barely hold them up. Looking at me standing in the shadows, she confessed that the driver was a dangerous criminal from her family's past named Marcus. He had broken out of hiding and was blackmailing her family, threatening to destroy our lives if she didn't hand over her brother's old secret legal documents tonight. She had lied about the girls' night out only because Marcus explicitly warned her that he was watching the house and would kill us both immediately if I ever found out. When my text message arrived, Marcus instantly realized they were being watched and accused her of setting a trap for him. In a fit of rage, he drew a weapon on her right there in the front seat, threatening to take her away by force. Terrified for her life, she had forced the door open, risked everything by jumping out of the accelerating vehicle, and escaped into the darkness, running with absolute panic all the way back to the house. Hearing the terrifying truth, the anger inside me completely vanished and was replaced by a powerful urge to protect my wife. I walked over, knelt down beside her, pulled her tightly into my arms, and assured her that we would face this nightmare together. I immediately locked the heavy deadbolts, armed the perimeter alarm system, and dialed the emergency police line to report the black sedan. However, the nightmare was far from over. Within 20 minutes, 2 police officers arrived at our home to take our statements and review the security footage. They recognized Marcus's name immediately, explaining that he was a highly dangerous fugitive wanted for multiple high-profile extortion cases across the state. While the officers were documenting the details and calling for a patrol unit to secure our street, the lights inside our house suddenly flickered and went completely dead, plunging us into pitch-black darkness. A heavy, suffocating silence filled the room as we realized the main power lines outside had been intentionally cut. Before anyone could move, the loud, shattering sound of breaking glass echoed from the back kitchen window, followed by heavy, calculated footsteps inside the house. The police officers instantly drew their weapons, turning on their tactical flashlights and telling us to hide securely inside the master closet. My heart pounded against my ribs as I held Evelyn close in the dark, listening to the muffled shouts of the officers echoing through the hallways. Suddenly, a loud gunshot rang out, followed by the heavy sound of a body collapsing onto the floor. Outside the closet door, the heavy footsteps began approaching once again, slow and deliberate, stopping right outside our hiding spot. The doorknob began to rattle violently, and a raspy, low voice whispered through the wood, demanding the documents or threatening to burn the entire house down with us inside. Just as Marcus began to kick the heavy wooden door open, the loud, wailing sirens of multiple backup police cars echoed down the street, filling the room with flashing blue and red lights through the windows. Realizing he was completely surrounded and outnumbered, Marcus cursed loudly, turned around, and desperately tried to escape through the broken back entrance, but the backup officers intercepted him in the backyard, tackling him to the ground and placing him in heavy iron handcuffs. As the paramedics arrived to treat everyone and the police secured the perimeter, Evelyn and I stood on the front porch, holding each other tightly, knowing that the ghost from her past was finally gone and we were finally safe.